Hi there people, welcome. So today I want to talk about, are there easier muscles to grow than others? That was a question that was asked quite some time ago on the comment section, and I thought this was a pretty interesting question that, I should probably cover. So today we're gonna cover, are there easier muscles than others to grow? So in this video, I'm not particularly gonna talk about science-based fact because science is awesome, but unfortunately sometimes in bodybuilding, from my experience, what I've noticed is that they really don't justify something. Some people go always by science and in the end, they don't really make it. They don't really grow muscle. Some others just rely on simple facts that is not always explained by science, and that sometimes science dismiss in its bodybuilding articles, and they do very well. And so I'm not gonna talk about fiber, twitch, fast, slow, etc. I do think that we need to make it more simple, that I've seen objectively for a lot of people work. So this is what I'm gonna do today, rely mostly on experience from what I've seen work on myself and on others globally. It's not to say that science isn't good. We're glad that we have science on Earth and that helps us with so many things. But here, I don't think that science is particularly made in the right way for now in bodybuilding. To actually understand how building muscle works, usually this science is made probably on animals, these kind of things. And so, not long-term basically study cases that actually prove what really works, just things that are on the short term. And that's why we have so many misinformation that is science-based today in bodybuilding, in my opinion, and that I'm not a fan of the science-based stuff for bodybuilding. So to give a pretty quick answer, are there muscles that are easier to grow than others? I do think that I will say objectively on a large scale, if you take a massive group of person, no, but subjectively, yes, because some people will have more ability to grow certain muscles according to their morphology, and a lot of other factors, simply like their sportive past, how they grew up, maybe muscles that they used when they were doing a sport when they were younger. So there are definitely for each people, muscles that would develop more easily than other muscles. But then objectively, you can't particularly say on a very large scale of humans and on a human body, the biceps is gonna grow quicker as a muscle in this part of the body than abs, for example. Objectively, it's very hard to say, some muscles are gonna grow more than others. At the end of the day, they're muscles, so we could actually wonder, maybe scientifically or at a large scale, we've been able to prove that chest compared to all the other muscles will grow faster. But today, in my opinion and experience, this is not what I've seen. We can make this actually statement with people who take enhancements. I think that people who take enhancements, they will have this artificial products that will come to their body, their new hormones, and we have androgen receptors that will take these. And so that's why people who take steroids will have usually big shoulders, traps, and upper chest, because this adding of substances make it that these receptors are gonna take them. But usually when you're natural, we don't have enough of this additional testosterone that will make the receptors receptive as much. And so that's why as natural, you don't particularly have these traps that grow easily like people on steroids, etc. So I would say that, if you're someone on steroids, yes, there are muscles that grow easier than others, thanks to these, androgen receptors. But as a natural, as I said earlier, I don't think that there is anything today that really proves that, okay, there are some muscles that are gonna grow more than others. And the only case when it's like this is when it's subjective to the person and that the person just has weak and strong parts. But on a very large scale of humans, we can't say, chest grow faster than any other muscle. That's just very a subjective thing, but not objective. Now, what I will say is that there are muscles that will grow, their growth will be visible faster. So they're not growing faster, but big muscles, for example, will most likely appear as a physical appearance, appear more easily when you work on them than a very small muscle. So in this sense, we could say that you can look big quite quick if you focus on the muscles that will make you big pretty quick. but these ones don't develop faster, for example, than the brachialis that is between, just under the biceps and above the triceps, in between the two. This muscle probably develops, at the same pace as your back, as muscle, I'm saying. But the back, if you work on it, because it's much bigger, will make you look bigger quicker. So in this sense, we can't say that the development is faster, but we can say that some muscles are gonna make you look bigger quicker. And so in your bodybuilding strategy, as someone who starts, it's always great to, if you want to develop a pretty quick frame, or maybe even sometimes, example, an actor who is going to play in a film, he wants to have a bigger frame, then they will most likely focus on muscles that will make them look big quicker, but none of these muscles are actually growing faster than others. So I think I could answer the first part of this video, which is to say that I don't think there is any muscle that will grow faster than other on a large scale if we compare out of all humans on Earth. But subjectively, as I said, for each people, yes, there are muscles that are easier to grow than others, thanks to factors that belong to the past, like, sportive past, or simply their ability to grow their muscle thanks to their morphology. So for example, some people who have short calves, they will always struggle to develop their calves. And we could say that they have a hard time developing. Now, do they develop not as fast as the other muscles? I don't know, but they just don't develop as much in the long term as muscles that are longer. And so for one person, there are definitely muscles that are easier to grow than others. Not because these muscles are any sort of different, but because they don't have the same capacity of development, I will say. And so that's why it's good to really know about your body morphology, to be able to do the right exercise selection. Because in this sense, you will already know after lifting for some time which muscles you will have a pretty easy time to develop and which ones you will struggle. And so you can anticipate in your bodybuilding journey, if you ever aim to do competitions and to be the most aesthetic on stage, how to start working on your muscles that don't develop so well and give them at least an illusion, although you can't do everything that you want, at least try to give them the illusion that they look good. And on the other hand, your strong parts, you will see what you want to do with them. Some people, they wanna hammer the strong parts because they will look so good, their strong parts, that they will actually kind of like hide the weakest parts and they take advantage of what they're good at. Some other people will want to get as good as possible with their weak parts while not doing so much the strong parts. There are different strategies and you will see, which one is good for you. What I know is that, talking about muscle easier than others to develop, it's for sure though that, as I said, I don't think a brachialis, which is a very small muscle, won't grow as fast as another muscle. Its development, obviously, because it's just a smaller muscle, won't be as big as a bigger muscle. But what is true is that as a human, it's hard to work on a smaller muscle, usually, because it's harder to recruit. So in this sense, we could say that there are also muscles that are easier to develop than others, just because they're bigger, as I said earlier, and some of them are smaller. Again, these are two muscles, so I think that they're equally muscles that should grow at the same pace, but they're not as easy if you compare to recruit. So one will be easier to recruit and another harder. And usually small muscles are, for most people, quite hard to recruit, I think. When you do, for example, the brachialis, well, it's such a small muscle, and so to really develop it, usually develop through other movements that will include, the brachialis. When you do back, you involve a lot of brachialis, but if you really want to just target it, it's a small muscle, and being able to recruit it and to really feel it is gonna be, a whole sort of work. You will have usually to do quite a lot of high reps with a weight that you can control easily, to be able to learn how to feel it and to recruit it before actually being able to put heavier weights, just like any other muscle where you need to improve over time. And so you need to increase the weight as to build more muscle. But at first, usually small muscle demand more attention of your part to be able to feel them and to recruit them. So in this sense, yes, I think there are muscles that are easier to grow than others, but not because it's harder as a muscle to develop, but rather because as a human, when you work out, it's actually harder to develop a muscle that is small. So let's finish with this video. I hope it was pretty clear. To sum up, you basically overall muscle-wise, I don't think that there are any muscles particularly that will grow faster than others. But if you take in consideration all the factors that impact you in your life, simply the sportive past, etc. Yes, as a human, subjectively, you will have muscles that will develop more than others. I think that small muscles, also when you go to the gym and you work them out, might be harder to recruit, those like rear delts or the brachialis. And so in this sense, you might have a easier time developing other muscles that are bigger. And then there is the weak and strongest part of your body. Some muscle will be easier to develop than others. What to remember always comes back to the same. Understand your body morphology, understand your strong parts and your weak parts, and have a strategy to grow them according to what you actually want to do, what is your goal with it. And instead of looking at others, how they develop, etc., just look at yourself subjectively, what your body is like, how you're gonna adapt your strategy overall to grow. What to remember is that, sure, you might have some sort of genetics, but usually the normal human will have a balance between strong parts and weaker parts, and you still have the chance as someone who has all these muscles to develop a very good aesthetic physique. And that, unless you have a rare condition or whatever else, you should be able to build a great body no matter what your genetics are. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you did so, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. I will see you very soon for a new one.